Okay, Mike, we got a little bit of an ambitious production today. People can tell I'm not in the regular studio, and we're going out. Going to be all kinds of delays and sound stuff that's not the usual stuff, but good to see you, Mike. A lot of people talking about court, a lot of stuff happening in court today. What's happening with you?
What's going on, my man? I like
Just
your graphic
chilling.
today. Is that the, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah, that's her there, you
I thought
know,
that
the
was,
court, what do you,
since there's been no photos of her, that's your police sketch.
exactly, the courtroom sketch. And so she appeared today
I thought it might have
by
been the,
Zoom
I thought it
video.
might have been the Goya Foods lady. Is that the Goya Foods lady?
Exactly. Looks just like her, right? I mean,
Just like her.
yeah. So Maxwell appeared by Zoom video. No bail, much to Geraldo Rivera's chagrin.
Yeah.
Lot of
Geraldo's
stuff.
very upset about it.
He is. And there's lots to do with court today. We've got Ghislaine Maxwell in court. We've got a Supreme Court justice in the hospital. We've got actually a court proceeding for Patreon we're going to talk about a little bit. But I got to tell you, Mike, and I know you know this firsthand, court is one of those places, it's kind of like, you know, jail, court, the hospital, Staten Island. It's like the top 5 places you just don't want to be.
Well, it depends on what side of the table you're on. If you're working for justice and you're on the right side of the courtroom, it's not a bad place to be. If you're on the opposite table on the left side of the courtroom, that's not a place you want to be.
Yeah.
Whether you're guilty or innocent or whatever, that's not a place you want to be. And it's tough to put into words, man. It's woo. And you want to talk about, you know, back in the day we used to like drink a little Night Train or a little Mad Dog 2020 to get your system going on before the weekend or on the weekend and get a little fired up. You can't duplicate what happens to your adrenaline when you're staring down a federal judge and he could put your ass in jail for 4 or 5 years. You can't. If you could bottle that and sell it, yeah. If you could bottle that and sell it, it'd be something else. But it is pretty intense, and they use that fear against defendants, of course, to get them to settle out. And then they're like, our conviction rate is 97%. Yeah, because you scared the living shit out of everybody. So why it should be 97%? You know, the other 3% are guys like Roger Stone who take you on and then get their sentence commuted, and he gets to thumb his nose at the Justice Department. That's a rarity. That's the 3%. That's a rarity, right? So, but the other 97% are left holding the ashes, whether they are guilty of anything or not. Doesn't even matter when you get to that stage.
Yeah. Mike, some people are confused about my statement that Geraldo Rivera is upset that Ghislaine Maxwell did not get bail today. You want to tell us a little bit about this story in TruePundit.com that's talking about that? What was Geraldo saying?
Yeah, well, I don't know if you can play anything on the road. Can you play anything, or are you kind of hamstrung? It's not a big deal. We did a story.
We're looking at it on TruePundit, yeah.
Okay, the phone started ringing off the hook there. Somebody said, Geraldo's on TV, and he's upset that Maxwell didn't make bail. And I said, come on, he really said that? Because, you know, people, by the time they call you, the representations are like completely wild. And we dug up the clip. I think we were the first people to really break the story. And the guy is like saying, oh, the judge chickened out by not giving Maxwell bail. And these charges are kind of wobbly. And I'm like, how much was this guy paid, allegedly, to say something like that? What? Are you insane? Maybe Geraldo left Ghislaine. It's not Ghislaine, it's Ghislaine. You're pronouncing it improperly. Maybe he left her out of his memoir. Remember, he wrote that memoir of all the chicks he banged, like Barbara Walters and stuff?
Did he really? What?
Remember that?
Geraldo Rivera wrote that?
Yeah,
oh, my God. I didn't know that.
He was banging Barbara Walters back in the day, and it's like, yo, dude, slow down, man. Slow down. Maybe he left her out, you know, and he's got like a soft spot.
Who wants to know
for her.
about that?
I can't. Apparently, he thinks he's Don Juan. This guy. Um, fresh off his, remember his bathroom selfie, the naked selfie from like 2 years ago. He was going around. He posted on his social media. It's like,
I don't think I've been following Geraldo as closely as True Pundit has. This is some shocking stuff.
Well, we're stalking him. No, seriously. The guy's on Fox. He has a national platform, and I think he's the first journalist to defend her. And not only defend her, but kind of go to the wall for her. That she shouldn't have been held on bail. What? She's not a U.S. citizen, Geraldo.
Right.
And I could make some disparaging remarks right now, but I won't. But she's not a U.S. citizen, and she's a French citizen, and she's a British citizen, dual passports. She probably has an extra passport thrown in from Israel, like Epstein had his
Helicopter
Israeli
pilot,
passport.
private jet pilot, submarine pilot. She's not a flight risk.
No, not a flight risk. And so if she does somehow make it back to Paris, you're not going to get her back. I mean, if people ever followed the case of Ira Einhorn in Philadelphia, who was people say, Ira Einhorn was the founder of Earth Day. He was the founder of Earth Day. He also stuffed his girlfriend in a steamer trunk after he chopped her up, and then he fled to Paris, and it took Philadelphia district attorney 30 years to get him back because there's no extradition between France and the United States. So that's where she was headed, and that's where she was. God knows why she came back. It must have been some kind of deal was cut, I think, for her to come back from Paris and hang out in New Hampshire. Something's going on there, something very strange. Or maybe it was misreported by the British media and she never was in Paris. Because what the hell would you come back to the United States for if you were actually in Paris? If you had made it over to Paris? So I think a lot of this is, first of all, I'm not going to start a conspiracy theory here, but nobody knows where the hell she's at. She's appearing on video. The press hasn't seen her physically. There's no mugshots. There's no video of the arrest. What? If I got arrested, when I did get arrested, my neighbors had they're out front watching stuff. It's like a spectacle. These guys come swooping in.
Right.
Right? It's great. Looks like a Hollywood production. Cars, trucks.
But also,
guns.
Mike, it's like nowadays, it seems everybody has, what is that thing, the Ring doorbell? You got video all over the place. How could she be arrested in a neighborhood and nobody has the Ring doorbell, nobody has a security camera?
Was.
Nothing.
Maybe she was, and then, it's not unheard of for the feds to go door to door and say, don't fucking release anything on this. You understand? Don't really, and they'll be okay. I'm sorry. Like Sal Cincinnati, when they went around the bar and told everybody the witnesses alleged suicide, don't put a goddamn thing on the internet. People were like, oh, okay, I definitely won't. So they could have done that too, but if she actually was arrested, they could have clamped down on that, anything for social media, and they don't want that stuff to get out. But where was the CNN reporter, like at Roger Stone's house? Remember, he was out there staking the place out, 6 a.m.? First of all, if you don't cooperate with the feds, you get arrested at 5:30 or 6 a.m. If you cooperate with them, they show up at 8:30, 9 a.m. They bring fucking donuts. It's a big, it's a big hangout. To be able to roll out of bed, take a shower, hang out, picked up at 8:30, it's just like you're going to school. Oh, the school bus is here. When they're really pissed off at you, they show up at 5 or 6 a.m. in the dark, beat down your door. I mean, it's insane. It's special treatment, regardless of what anybody says. Just that fact is special treatment from minute one, when you understand how these guys operate, and when they load up and they stage a raid. They'll meet somewhere like 4:30 in the morning, somewhere like a mile and a half from the house, like a gas station. Shoot the shit, have their morning coffee, put on their Kevlar and stuff like that. They don't drive around. They don't leave home like dressed in fucking SWAT guys driving down the road with their helmets on, their guns sticking out the window. They go to a staging place, so they don't have to worry about all that stuff. If they pick her up at 9 in the morning, you just kind of breeze out. Yeah, who's got the donuts? Who's got the coffee? Yeah, we'll swing over here. We don't got to worry about any bad situations. It's kind of already set up. The lawyer knows we're going to be here the next day, 2, 3 days. She's not going to give us any problem. Bing, bang, boom. We show up. cuff her and stuff her and we leave. You know what I mean? The amazing
Yeah.
point is this. Going back just real quick, something that just floated into my head. Where's the search warrant? I didn't see the paperwork on the search warrant. Are you telling me
Right.
you just went and arrested her and you didn't search the house? What? So that's more indicative. Maybe I missed it, but I looked. I didn't see the search warrant, right? So if you're just going and picking her up and you don't search your house, it's a farce. Why wouldn't you search your house? Maybe you find more evidence. Maybe you find videos. Maybe you find whatever. Maybe you find cash, okay? Maybe you find drugs. Maybe you find other passports. Where's the search warrant?
Kids.
Are we to believe you just went there and picked her up and there's no search warrant? Well, if that's true, that's indicative of exactly what I'm saying, that this was something that was arranged, prearranged behind the scenes, and it's a little more than theater at this point. That's just me. Just things you pick up in the trade craft, things you pick up on the street when you work these things. I'm not breaking any, this isn't inside news. These are just little idiosyncrasies you pick up when you work in the street. That's all.
You and I have been talking about some of these anomalies, since the beginning, Mike. It makes no sense, all this stuff. She's a French citizen. All she'd have to do would be hang out there in France. Nobody would bother her. It makes no sense that she would return to the United States or stay in the United States and go to New Hampshire. How does she buy a house if she's being investigated by the FBI? They said this house was $1 million. Frankly, it seems low to me, given this house and New Hampshire. Is New Hampshire cheap to live in? I mean, it just seems like this amount of land and this fancy house, $1 million seems low.
We'll have to ask Bernie Sanders, who bought himself a nice $650,000 lake house. All of a sudden, after he bailed out of the 2016 election at the Democratic National Convention, and voila, a couple days later, he had himself a $600,000 nice little spot on the lake. So no, the house, you can't go by real estate values in New York and Philadelphia because it's fucking frozen in New Hampshire 6 months out of the year. So you're not going to get as much as for a house up there unless you're Chili fucking Willie the penguin. And so it's not really representative of a lot of the house prices you see in other parts of this part on the East Coast because of the weather. It's like you can buy 700 acres in Maine for $200,000 and live like a king, but 10 months out of the year you can't leave the house. So that kind of thing, you know what I mean? So it varies, but the more important part here is that if she was, as it has been reported widely, in France, what the hell did she come back for? And now the strangely I talked to one of my buddies, and I did a podcast a couple days ago, and I said, this doesn't make any sense. Why hasn't she been arraigned? They've had her for a long time now. And he said, juice her while she's, I don't know what he said, it was funny. Squeeze her while she's juicy or something like that. Pluck her while she's juicy and try to get whatever you can get out of her in the first couple days, right? And maybe they're working some kind of deal. And I'm saying, fuck, that deal's already worked out if they didn't sweep her house and toss her house. That deal's already been worked out. You should go in.
And I think it's one of these deals, Mike. It's one of these kind of like secret deals where all the U.S. attorneys have been changed out and she's in jail for a year now and all we get to see are these little cartoon pictures of her. Nobody has, if somebody's working in that jail, what is a corrections bureau guard being paid? $100,000 a year, even if it's $150,000 a year. Isn't TMZ or somebody going to offer these people $200,000 for one picture of her in jail?
Well, let's take, for instance, the MCC, right, as a history of guards being bribed there by defendants, so wealthy defendants, and some mob-related defendants would pay a guard $25,000, $35,000 for favors. So, they can make a lot of money on the side. If you're taking money from defendants who are incarcerated in your federal correctional facility, why wouldn't you pay for, why wouldn't you sell some photographs to the press, right? So where's the black market on this? I don't see any photos. I don't see any video. It's very strange, as I said. It's very strange. But beyond that, now we got a court date for this time next year.
It's really, a long time to wait.
It might as well come with a death certificate.
Exactly. She's probably going to wind
You
up
know, it's like,
hanging herself in the prison. Now,
you
Mike, real
can't
quick,
think that
because
she's
we've got just a
yeah,
few more minutes. We've got just a few more
yeah,
minutes
yeah.
here until we transition over to the sponsor exclusive show. Mike's now on subscribestar.com/truepundit, in addition to patreon.com/truepundit. And of course, we're simulcasting on Subscribestar and Patreon for Crowdsource the Truth. We're going to get into some of the details of the really strange stuff that's been happening with the U.S. attorneys in the Eastern District of New York, the Southern District of New York. I also want to talk for a second, Mike, about, I'm talking about court, and, Patreon itself was in court. I don't know if people are following Mike Cernovich. He's a polarizing character, to say the least, but he's been reporting quite a lot on this Patreon lawsuit. Owen Benjamin's sponsors, his patrons, have brought all this arbitration stuff against Patreon because they had deplatformed Owen Benjamin. Now, I don't really know that much about Owen Benjamin. He's a comedian. He's got a YouTube channel. I guess he used to be on Patreon. I'm not sure why he was banned or what he said. I definitely do not support this concept of banning people for saying things. I think unless you threaten somebody with violence or do something expressly illegal, I do not like the idea of private companies projecting their morality onto other people. I would say let Hitler have a YouTube channel, and if people like it, they'll go to it, and if they don't, they won't. That's what free speech is supposed to be all about. But it's interesting to note, Mike Cernovich, he's basically like live tweeting this court thing, and it's not a class action, it's like a group arbitration or something like that, but the group is represented by Mark Randazzo, who is the same lawyer that represented Cernovich when I went to that Second Circuit appellate hearing, where the Epstein victims were. There was something going on with Dershowitz, and that was where I asked Dershowitz how well he knows Mike Cernovich, and he said he never met him, which maybe he met him once, something like that. What's going on here with Cernovich, Randazzo, and all this stuff?
I'm not getting involved in that crew. I'll take the fifth.
All right. I hear you, but I wanted to bring it up because people are attacking Patreon.
For 4 years on these people, I've taken the fifth. It serves us well. I don't get baited by them. I have them all fucking blocked. I pretend like they don't even exist, and you know what? And everything runs fine. When you eliminate idiots from your life, things tend to work a lot more harmonious. You find that as you get older. You find there's two different schools of journalism. There's the adult table and there's the kiddie table, and you can read between the lines how I feel about it.
Yeah. Well, people are intrigued by the comments. There's a lot of people seem to want to subscribe to the Hitler YouTube channel. Apparently, Owen Benjamin was drunk and said a bunch of things that, I don't know if getting totally banned is the answer. Perhaps he could be
depends on what you say.
reinstated. Yeah.
Joe Strummer and the Clash have a song, "Know Your Rights," and you have the right to free speech, unless you're stupid enough to actually try it.
I mean, that's the thing.
So you have to
even if what he said was objectionable, I would just vote for people to, cancel your subscription if you don't like him. But
I don't know
what
what
like
he
the
said.
idea
And
of.
here's the deal: you really have to be cognizant these days when you're doing this. And I've found, and I'm a rookie at this. Believe me, I'm a rookie at this. But even when we play music, licensed music and stuff, if it has disparaging lyrics in it, it's not like our lyrics. It's like that could be NWA's lyrics or Public Enemy's lyrics and things like that, but we're still responsible for the content, so you can't play those things or you're going to have a problem. That's what the lawyers say, and you have to be responsible about it. So you have to be careful. Especially, there are people out there looking to scalp you over this stuff. So you have to be careful and you have to be responsible. And it's tricky. And it's tricky. And one slip up, right? Millions of words you could speak. 30 seconds you can ruin it all. So you have to be cognizant of that.
Yeah.
It's just
I
a
say
fact
let
of
him
life.
say it.
It's a fact of life.
And if he insults his viewers, then as I said, they'll respond with their.
But that's
by,
not
by,
the that.
you know.
The only thing I'll talk about is the cancel culture and things like that. That's not the world we live in. There is no free speech anymore. right? Everything's guarded. Even the stuff I'm telling you about. These are the restrictions we have to put on ourselves as broadcasters, but we can't say exactly what we want. If you want to have a beer with me sometime, you'd be like, wow, this guy's really out of control, because you can't say certain things on here that you could say when you're just bullshitting, right?
Exactly.
And I guess that's the way it should be. That's probably the way it should be in a lot of instances, because in today's day and age, I mean, if you want to, you have to be somewhat guarded. It's unfortunate. And that's and the bar keeps getting lowered by these trolls who mosey around and try to ruin people for saying different things. So you have to be cognizant of that. And we go over this almost on a daily basis. Can we say this? Can we say that? And people say, oh, yeah, you're not, you don't call it like it is. Yeah, I still call it like it is. But maybe not to the tone that I would if I was shooting the shit with my buddies. You know what I mean? There has to be different levels of that. And that's unfortunate. But this is the current times we live in. If you want to be able to, I mean, come on, man. The stuff we're doing is way more edgy than 99% of the stuff out there. How much more edgy do you want to get? I mean, I think we're cutting edge. How much more?
I think you don't have to be insulting to be edgy, though. I mean, you know, you and I don't come out and say, someone here, I haven't heard the Owen Benjamin video. I don't know why he got banned. Someone said he got drunk and said a bunch of, I don't know. I mean, you know, we'll have to look into it further. But it would be really sad if this has an impact on Patreon. Well, Patreon should be stopped from just arbitrarily applying its morality on people if they're not doing stuff that's illegal. But I would hate to see something happen to people like you and I who are earning a living on Patreon as a result of, you know, one guy getting banned. We'll see what happens. As I said, this was just the first round in the arbitration, and we're just about 8 minutes away, Mike, from our sponsor exclusive show on subscribestar.com and patreon.com/truepundit, as well as Subscribestar and Patreon/crowdsource the truth. We're going to get into some more topics. Still on the subject of court, we've got Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Frankly, the news headline should be, she's still alive. That's amazing.
You never see her and Larry King in the same place. You notice that? You never see that.
That's a very good point, as a matter of fact.
I looked at the
All right,
photo.
Mike.
I looked at the photo online. And I said, "Is that Larry King?" Oh no, that's Ruth Ginsburg. They look pretty much alike at this age. It's kind of scary. But
You're right.
you know, we won't wish anybody poor health on this show.
No.
And no matter if something does happen to any of the Supreme Court justices, I'll make a prediction. Their death will be listed as COVID-19 no matter what happens.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's insane.
90-year-old
It's
woman.
insane what to do. We'll talk about that tonight. I'll talk about that tonight.
Absolutely.
About how they're skewing all the stats.
Yep, and we're on our way over there right now, Mike. Just about 5 minutes. We're going to be starting the sponsor exclusive segment. I hope people will join us. We'll see everybody in just a few minutes. Thanks for watching.